Most people think that when they go to sleep at night, the body simply shuts off, like turning down a dimmer switch until everything fades out. But that's not what happens. That's not even close to what happens. The truth is, while you sleep, your brain goes to work. It doesn't rest, it doesn't slow down, it initiates one of the most powerful transformations in biology. And if you understand how that works, if you truly grasp what your brain is doing while you sleep, you can begin to optimize it, and you can use it to create the kind of cognitive performance, emotional stability, and physical resilience that most people only dream about. You see, we live in a culture that often glorifies hustle, grind, staying up late to get more done. But the science tells a very different story. The science is clear. Your brain, when you sleep, is not being lazy. It's fighting for your future. It's working on your behalf in ways that no amount of conscious effort during the day can replicate. And the first step to truly upgrading your mind, your health, and your performance is to stop underestimating what happens during those nighttime hours. When your eyes close and your muscles relax, your brain doesn't simply go into idle. Instead, it initiates a complex orchestration of neurochemical, electrical, and metabolic changes. Your neurons begin replaying the sequences of the day. This process is called neural replay, and it's one of the most fundamental ways your brain consolidates learning. Think about that. Your brain is reviewing the day's events, the skills you practiced, the emotional interactions you had, and it's prioritizing them. It's deciding what to keep and what to discard. That's memory formation. That's identity shaping. That's your future being constructed one synapse at a time. And if you don't give your brain the proper sleep it needs, that process becomes incomplete, fragmented. You wake up not just tired, but weakened. Not just forgetful, but cognitively impaired in ways that compound over time. But if you do give it that time, if you honor those hours, you wake up with sharper memory, faster reflexes, stronger emotional regulation, and a deeper sense of self. Here's what most people don't realize. During sleep, your brain shifts through stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep. Each stage has a function. Deep sleep, for example, is when the brain flushes out metabolic waste products that build up during waking hours. That's not a metaphor, it's a biological fact. There's a system in the brain called the glymphatic system, and it acts as a nighttime cleaning crew. During deep sleep, your brain cells actually shrink, creating space for cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and clear out toxins, some of which are associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. That means if you regularly miss sleep, you're not just tired, you're letting your brain stew in its own waste. But there's more, way more. REM sleep. The stage where dreaming occurs is where things get especially fascinating. During REM, your brain is highly active. It's integrating emotions, reconciling internal conflicts, and stimulating creative problem solving. In fact, studies have shown that people who get adequate REM sleep are significantly better at solving complex problems. That's because the brain, in REM, breaks out of linear thinking. It accesses patterns and connections that your waking mind often can't. It's like having a genius version of yourself working overnight to make sense of your life and your goals. And this is where it gets personal, because your brain is unique. It processes the world through your experience, your past, your perspective. And when you sleep, it does something incredibly powerful. It protects that identity, but it also reshapes it. Night after night, sleep is where neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to change, becomes reality. If you've ever wanted to be mentally tougher, more emotionally balanced, more creative, more decisive, the place that change begins is not in the gym, not on the calendar, not in another motivational book. It's in the bedroom during high-quality, deep, and REM sleep. Now, let me be very specific. The hippocampus, a structure critical for memory formation, literally replays the neural sequences of your day during sleep. These patterns of activity strengthen synaptic connections, which means the skills you practiced, whether it's a conversation you had, a new language you're learning, or a business strategy you were contemplating, are rehearsed and reinforced automatically. You don't have to lift a finger while you sleep. but your brain is doing the heavy lifting for you. That is strategic learning, that is neural optimization, and you can access it every night if you choose to. But this isn't just about knowledge, this is about resilience, emotional resilience. The amygdala, a region involved in fear and threat detection, becomes better regulated by the prefrontal cortex after adequate sleep. Translation: you're less reactive, less anxious, more balanced when you get the right sleep. One of the most important things sleep does is recalibrate your emotional thermostat. That means better decision making, better conversations, more control over your responses, and that can change your entire life trajectory. Now, let's talk about how your brain doesn't just process and stabilize memory, it enhances it. There's a phenomenon called memory transformation. That means during sleep, especially REM sleep, your brain doesn't just store experiences, it reprocesses them and extracts meaning. It integrates new information with old memories and creates associations. That's the foundation of wisdom. That's how you gain insight, not just knowledge. That's the process of evolving from someone who knows a lot into someone who understands deeply. When you think about the most successful, most mentally agile, emotionally intelligent individuals, what you're really observing is someone who knows how to leverage sleep as a mental training ground. They've trained themselves, consciously and unconsciously, to make sleep non-negotiable. They understand that if you compromise sleep, you compromise everything else: your focus, your memory, your patience, your immune system, even your testosterone and growth hormone levels, which regulate muscle development and fat metabolism. Let's get practical. If you're not protecting your circadian rhythm, your natural 24-hour sleep-wake cycle, you're sabotaging your brain. That means going to bed at wildly inconsistent hours, staring at bright screens late at night, eating heavy meals before bed. Those things confuse your brain. They prevent the proper release of melatonin, a hormone that signals your body to transition into sleep. And without that signal, you delay deep sleep, reduce REM sleep, and wake up groggy even after a full 8 hours. So, yes, quantity matters, but quality and timing matter just as much. Here's something else I need you to understand. If you're trying to learn a new skill, recover from emotional burnout, build discipline, or heal trauma, your brain needs more sleep, not less. There's a reason elite athletes prioritize sleep. There's a reason high-performing executives protect their bedtime routines like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. And this is where the shift happens, when you stop seeing sleep as passive and start seeing it as active recovery, as mental training, as neurological growth. Your relationship to rest changes. It becomes purposeful. It becomes sacred. You no longer feel guilty for protecting your sleep. You feel empowered because you know that while others are staying up scrolling or distracting themselves into numbness, you are giving your brain the fuel, the time, and the freedom to evolve. Sleep is not for the weak. It is the weapon of the strong. You might not see it immediately, but every high-quality night of sleep deposits value.